your attention for a moment, we want to welcome, and have your attention for a moment, we want to welcome our U.S. Congressman Kevin Brady and his staff here today. We've got a little interview of some topics he wants to talk about. I'll give him his attention.
Sheriff, thanks for having me here, and thanks for bringing our law enforcement leaders together. I appreciate this journey being here. I've known each other a long, long time. I came to Grimes County because your law enforcement's been very outspoken about the need to be very aggressive in local law enforcement, in making sure Washington secures the border, that we make sure that those safety concerns and expenses don't spill into Grimes County and other communities. And the sheriff has been very outspoken in that area. So I came here today basically to ask people to convince the Senate to stop playing games in politics with the funding for Homeland Security, and take up that bill that we passed a month ago from the House and vote on it. Up or down, I don't care what you do. Well, I do. I just want you to take a vote. What happened is, a month ago, U.S. House passed a bill that fully funds Department of Homeland Security. It increases funding for ICE, for Customs and Border Protection, fully funds E-Verify, so our local businesses can more accurately determine if they're hiring a legal worker or not. But it also includes two other provisions. One of them is it stops the President's executive order on immigration. It extends work visas to 5 million people who are here illegal. And it freezes the President's 2012 order that really has encouraged young people, unaccompanied by their family, travel 500, 600, 1,000 miles across to get to the Texas border in search of permits that don't exist. And so the bill we passed fully a month ago fully funds, stops executive orders. Both of them, the President, we think, takes a big step towards securing the borders. But in that month, nothing's happened. It's been in the Senate 5 times. The majority, Senate Republicans brought it up just to begin debate, just to have a discussion, offer amendments, see what the Senate's going to do. 5 times they've been blocked from even starting debate. Not voting on it, just even starting the conversation. On February, the clock is ticking. February 27th, funding runs out. And the good news is 90% of the workers and staff at Homeland Security are essential. They'll keep doing their jobs. But you worry about the 10%. You know what isn't getting done? You worry about the salaries for those who are actually helping us to secure our borders and enforce these laws. And so I don't think funding has to run out. It shouldn't. The Senate's got time. They go back Monday, take up this bill, vote it up or down. Your call. But get it to the House, because we need to get it to the President. We need it signed. We need that Department of Homeland Security funding. The other thing is, I think part of the politics on this is that some members of the Senate don't want to vote on the President's immigration. I mean, they just don't want to take that vote. I already have. I believe he did the wrong thing. I mean, he went around the checks and balances of Congress and enacted a law where none truly exists. And I think the result of that is it will encourage more people to try to enter the country through the back door of illegal immigration. I think we need to shut that back door. I think we need to fix the front door. So people who come here the right way, trying to follow laws, trying to help make themselves and our country better, welcome, welcome. Just insist you come through that front door. So anyway, my frustration is that we're getting awful close to a funding problem that shouldn't exist. So if the Senate will just do their job, as the House has, we can solve this. So Sheriff, again, thanks for having me here today, and thanks for letting me be part of this.
We appreciate you coming. We always know that you certainly have our best interests in Washington, as well as your local business and communities, and I agree that they didn't do their job up there for procrastinating. Because boots on the ground, people, troopers, deputies, game wardens that are working on the border, assisting the border sheriff, are in actually a war zone. And it's been procrastinated, and people just will not do their job up there to make the whole system work. It's getting a crisis. crisis level of a situation that is very serious. It's affecting all the way up in, we're in Middle Texas to a degree, but we still see the problems here.
Yeah.
District Attorney sees the problem from the crime issues. And manpower shortages, when the game wardens and the troopers are shifted down the board for tours of duties, we suffer up here, and they're down there, and certainly it takes a toll on them, because they're gone for a while, they come back, readjust, and do their duty here, they have to go back. And the shortages are long reaching.
Because they impact you.
Exactly.
Obviously put a lot
all
more pressure.
All over the state, not just here, but, and the failure to secure the border is a big problem. And people talk about it, but we need more people like you that talk about it and try to get something done. So you have our support in that, I believe, throughout this region.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Sheriff, you want to comment?
Well, and I agree, because it's to the point now, I'm in court, and we try to work out cases, for example, for people who may be here that are not citizens. I call immigration specialists. I talk to the judge, and I said, what do we need to advise these people before they do enter into a plea bargain, for example? And you know what the immigration specialist told me? We don't know. We can't tell you. We don't know the effects it'll have because it changes so fast, whether it's by executive order or by law. We don't know what to tell anybody anymore. And so I don't even know how to advise people when they're in our courtrooms. I go to trial, get ready to go to trial on cases. I can't get my witnesses here because my troopers are down on the border, which I'm glad they're down there, but I really wish they were here. I wish the federal government was down there doing their job so my trooper could be here doing what they were really supposed to be doing, protecting the citizens of Wright County. So something like this bill will help us get there, and that's what we're looking for.
Thanks.
George, I know we're all, a smaller county, we all have to team up together to make things work, and we constantly depend on us, we depend on the constable, and the national police, and our deputies to make things work, and it just affects so much all the way around, and I know it affects y'all's officers.
Yeah, and it costs every person in the state of Texas that pays taxes. Because you've got to pay for your troopers and everybody that are down on the border, and then all the ones that come in illegal, you have medication for them. Their kids go to school, so it's...
The service of the JP workload that affects y'all, you have papers, and you got people that are like gypsies that move in, move out, it's just a constant burden on our Dale, you probably have the same.
Absolutely. I'd like to see Tuck expound on what he was talking about. I don't think the majority of police officers are familiar with this, but what he's referring to is if someone's going to take a plea in court, and if they're an illegal alien, their attorney has to, or the judge or DA's office, has to advise this person that if you plead guilty, this will may affect your status as to be here in the resident. You know, a lot of police officers don't realize, like
Both statute as well as federal case law and state case law requires that if somebody is a non-citizen, whether they're here legally or illegally, pleading particularly to a felony and even to some misdemeanor could prevent them from, it could stop their application for citizenship, or if they applied in the future could affect their ability. It also could result in deportation. The problem is the rules keep changing. The line keeps moving. And even those that practice this law on a daily basis, immigration specialists I've talked to in Houston and Dallas and different places, where I've called just trying to figure out how to put my paperwork in order so that I can at least give these people constitutional, valid, legal advice, and so the judge can admonish them as he's required to by law, and we can't give an answer. The bottom line is we tell them, we don't know, so just count on it. If you enter into a plea, you're going to be deported, when the truth is, I realize that's not going to happen. But that's the best advice I can give them, is count on being deported. It's sad that we can't give somebody better advice if the law is not clear. And it's because the line keeps moving. And we need bills like this one that'll tell us, you know, this is what happens. You know, let's set the rules, let's play by the rules, and stick to the rules.
Like they say, it's common comment, boots on the ground in the military, we talk about deploying overseas. But the boots on the ground is the people out here working for them, dealing with this every day. Just the consumption of time on their resources, and these bills are just sitting there like the world's gonna stop.
Yeah, no.
President Edward, do you have any?
Well, I think there are a lot of issues that our Congress looks at today, but I don't know that it has the importance of what we're talking about here today, and just having reinforcements along the border. In my particular case, just as Tuck had mentioned, it's my job during magistration to basically tell them what their offense was, give them their magistration rights, and set their bail or bond. And in doing so, if they can't understand English, we have to have a certified interpreter to do so. So which is a costly factor within my court. But the issue of immigration, securing the border, getting it funded is a tremendous issue that needs to be addressed and taken care of. And we truly appreciate your support in that effort.
Thanks. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, just one thing I'd like to ask the Congressman real quick. You said one of the key issues why they won't even bring this discussion up into the Senate is because of the executive order that Mr. Obama has put in effect. But the federal judge just ruled against that 2 days ago. So isn't that a moot issue at this point?
You know, I think that buys time, to be able to address it. Again, I think it's the right way. It's unfortunate you have to take these things to the courts, but it happens. And I think the judge ruled exactly right on procedural grounds, and for the right effects. So, I think that does help us. I still think, because what the president did was hugely unpopular in the country.
Our two senators stand on
They're
their
terrific.
right to the, okay.
Yeah, they voted
There's
twice.
nothing we can do
Yeah, they voted 5 times now
within the state
to start a debate on it, and I think they support the entire House bill. And my point is, look, whether you do or not, just do your job. Just bring it up for a vote. Fully fund Homeland Security. Take a stand on the president's executive order. But get it out now.
It's the frustration of the American people is just they're elected to do something. They want to be politically correct, politically neutral, or they want to blow in the wind. Again, the reality is the schools and the problems with the border is still here. It's been going on for years. It's not anything new.
And you can't duck the tough issues.
Yeah.
You got to handle them every day. You got to make decisions in court and prosecution, everywhere else. They're not easy. Well, tough. The Senate. These aren't easy issues, but you've got to take a position.
Captain Heaton with our game board
Yeah.
here.
Thanks for
on
doing
your side, well, we haven't discussed already. Any comments?
I appreciate y'all's work.
Wilson?
Well, you actually did cover quite a bit of exactly what the state of Texas has had the law enforcement for its game warden and the Texas troopers going down to secure the border periodically, and it does have an impact on the counties where we're pulled from, and it's not just here like Sheriff South stated, but it's all over the state. And so it does put us all in a bind, and I do have to commend the Sheriff's Office, all the local agencies and what have you within both counties that I supervise for their assistance with the fact of our accidents.
Yeah.
We were talking about this yesterday in Austin, Sheriff's Day at the Capitol, and what you said was talked about around with all the sheriffs. They're all impacted by troopers being pulled, game wardens, and especially the Texas Border Sheriff's Coalition. They're actually in a complete war zone. They have as many deputies as we have, many constables, maybe a small town police department, and double or similar square miles we have. And the branches, the citizens are being just run over. The cost of it's like almost broke Brooks County, which is not a border state per se, but they're not getting federal assistance on all the cost of the unfortunate sad dead bodies hospitals, schools, and law enforcement. And those guys down there are really appealing. They've been to Washington, I don't know how many times. And that's where our support is for our comrades on the border.
Yeah.
But they're pulling from all over the state, so everybody is being affected. I don't care which county you're at. More populated counties can survive, because like Harris, Dallas, Tarrant, that. When you hit the small counties, small populated counties like us, which makes up most of Texas, we're the ones that, and then our response time to our citizens on regular calls can be delayed because of the time consumed on accidents and there are troopers available or certain calls, and so many calls are involving illegal aliens. It's a constant rotation. You send them back, you heard the story 1,000 times. Send them back, come back, send them back. I don't know how many times Tucker's had repeaters come through our system here. So,
Too often, definitely too often.
Well, thank you. Anyone else want?
you have a comment on what we have covered already, or is that, you want to give an opinion, so I thought we could offer some opinions here.
Yes.
You can take back and know our support and our concern. You guys know, I know we got some of our folks that really work for a living in the trenches, if you will, so if y'all have any questions, I certainly recommend that you can. Our congressman here is very supportive, long time with our state representative, manager in Washington. He keeps in contact locally with our Austin politicians, and he's our spokesman. He's our boots on the ground from DC to our district and in Austin. So here's an opportunity to talk. He's not going to bite you, I promise.
Yes, sir. Any
Yeah.
comments?
We have a bachelor degree. Jennifer Petichek is our lieutenant and our jail administrator, and she will not say anything, but I'm going to get her started. Just the impact on the jails, medical,
Yeah.
immigration issues, she sees it every day. Our captain, Blake Jarvis, is CID and administration of our sheriff's office, he sees it in the criminal investigations that go on. Patrol sergeant, West Vale, same thing. And our game warden service here, Lieutenant Patrol, Jay Cawthorn, he's long family of law enforcement. He knows exactly what's going on and the problems. He helps us on regular calls. We help him. We're like having another deputy. He's like having a 20-something or 30 wardens here. But he's always involved in the problems that we deal with. Patrol Lieutenant John Douglas, same thing. It's a juggling act to answer all calls, and then the time consumption with the illegal aliens to make it this far in.
And to your point, this is law enforcement. To be effective in Grimes County has to work together. It's all hands on deck. And if you have impact on one, it makes it tougher on the others. Obviously.
Those cooperative law enforcement is the only way to survive anywhere, but in smaller populated counties, the teamwork, the policy atmosphere of, and this man here and his team get to go to the courtroom, have good convictions, and give our citizens justice they deserve. Boys and girls keep them in jail and get evidence and all to take to court. The victims of everything from murder down the right behind check, everything in between.
Appreciate your service.
Any comments at all, questions? Or you can take it back to DC, he's here to, I told you everything.
Those are going to get mad. Wait till you're. Oh, no, worries. Good. How's it going?
Yeah, as Constable Sharper was talking about being moot issues, it seems to me that as long as the president's amnesty program is intermeasured with this thing, that it's going to be dead on arrival. You've got an irresistible force, and you've got an immovable object, and as long as that's going to be in there, he's promised to veto it. So how do you deal with that?
My thinking is whether the president has a veto pen, which the Constitution gave, or there aren't enough votes to override it, that doesn't absolve me from doing my very best in the U.S. House. So if I believe the best way we can secure the border is to fully fund this, and to stop executive amnesty, because that encourages more illegal immigration. And I think, frankly, it's unconstitutional. Then I ought to fight for that. What's interesting is that there are, all Republicans support the bill in the Senate, and most ending the amnesty. 8 Democrat senators have said they think the president was wrong. This is an opportunity for them to step forward and vote their conscience on this. No politics, just vote. If you do that, we pass this bill to the president. He can veto it, but at least the process works. You know what I mean? The Constitution works. The House acts, the Senate acts. We try to find common ground. I just want to see everyone do their job.
But the process will work, but the bill still is dead.
Well, we'll see.
So I mean, why not just take it out and just deal with the funding issue by itself and deal with this other thing later? At least that way you'll get it passed.
Perhaps that's what the Senate ought to do. But they need to take up the bill to do that. They can amend anything that, frankly, they don't have to agree with the House. I mean, that's the way it works. But they should have to do their job. Whatever it is, send out a bill. And do it now, by the way, because the clock's ticking.
So do you see an 11-hour deal in there?
I see 11. What I always worry about is they don't get serious till about 11 o'clock at the 11th hour to get this done. I don't see a need to let the funding run out. But they need to act soon, Monday, when they return.
And are there any particular components of the bill that you would be willing to negotiate?
Well, I think all three, I think funding, executive order, and that early 2012, are all unconstitutional, all go around the checks and balances, and creates confusion back on here. And so I think those are pretty common sense, but again, I'll deal with whatever the Senate sends over. I'll take a look at what they finally agree upon.
Because it also prohibits funding for the release of prisoners from Guantanamo Bay as well.
Well, and it fully funds E-Verify, which I think is a good thing as well. And actually, there's an element in it too, is that it says we ought to prioritize people who are in the backlog who've come through the front door of legal immigration, trying to do it right. We ought to be spending resources as a government on those who are trying to come here legally, which to me, they get shoved to the side in this whole thing. And they go to the back of the line, especially with the children who come across the border. They're now being seen first, so people are actually trying to do it the right way, are suffering. So I think that's an important principle.
Worst case scenario, if it doesn't get funded by next Friday, what's going to be the physical impact for the law enforcement here in Grimes?
It's hard to predict. While most of vast majority of Homeland Security are essential workers, composed of essential workers, why find out? Why not get this thing done before that? There's no need to create this funding problem. Let's just do our job. And there's still time to do it. Yes, sir.
What happens if the worst case scenario does happen? 250,000 people don't have jobs whenever the DHS funding ends, $40 billion, I think, doesn't come down the pipeline. What does happen?
Good news in the government, essential workers continue. So we already know from the last government shutdown, which was a full one, partial one, but affected more people, that almost 90% are essential workers. So most of that agency continues just as it is. But my point is, why find out? Why not? There'll be some impact, and that impact could be on our local law enforcement and prosecution. So why play politics with this? Let's, again, Senate, do your job, whatever it's going to be. House will take it up quickly.
Besides law enforcement, this could also affect workers that are paid through Homeland Security grants for things like preventing the measles outbreak. The student mayor has made comments about that.
Yeah.
So this is more widespread than simply the law.
No, I agree. One of my frustrations always is that so many of those grants go to the larger cities and programs, not enough to our rural communities. You know, we don't have grant writers, and we don't have extra money to do it. And frankly, our law enforcement team could use it more. And so, yeah, I'm sure there are a number of the bigger cities complaining. I'd like to see us, frankly, give those grants away differently than they do today. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
Any other comments?
Can you say how the bill also benefits the military? They're also a component for raises?
Well, actually, that was the funding bill in November that fully funded the military for the year. No, but that's okay, because they sometimes get put together, just as we're discussing the same. But in November and December, we passed legislation to fully fund all the government but Homeland Security. And it was a real critical bill. One, you need to fund the military fully for the full year. We're at war. You know, you can't do 1 or 2 months for the military. It funds their pay raise. It did cut the EPA back to 1989 levels of staff because they've overreached so much into our local businesses. We did cut the IRS pretty significantly because they continue to target average Americans based on their political beliefs, and that's wrong. We did protect all of our Second Amendment riders, provisions in the government, including we're stopping the EPA from regulating lead in our ammunition, because that's one of the reasons it's been a little more difficult to get ammunition these days, and all of our pro-life riders. So that bill I thought was real important for the military. And in a month, 2 important things are going to happen. We're going to take up a Homeland Security bill by a Texan, Michael McCall, probably the smartest, toughest Homeland Security bill since I've been in Congress. And at the same time, we're going to make a decision about how we fund our military for the future. And my belief is we cannot hollow out our military. We cannot hollow out the intelligence world. We've got to fully fund them. They're at war. ISIS is the most well-financed, militarized, brutal terrorist group we've ever faced. They're not going away. And all these videos we see, on the beheadings and the burning of the Jordanian pilot, all of this, they aren't sending a message to us. Those are recruitment videos. Those are videos designed for recruiting young people, 10, 11, 12 years old, for their cause. So they're not going away unless we make them go away. And we're going to need a military fighting without any hands tied behind their backs if we're going to win that. So they are separate bills, but they all fit into how do you protect our country, you know, and how do you protect our local communities? Because it is really, at the end of the day, it's all, as the sheriff said, tied together.
Anybody else have any comments before we close up? Congress, we appreciate your time. Again, we'll take this message back to your colleagues in the Congress, and Congressman Carla, Congressman Poe, and just name a few in our Texas area are still on your side. But again, the problem nationally and internationally is one thing, but it also, we're in a war zone here. The cartels are just as brutal as the ISIS, and our citizens are being affected. Ranchers are common citizens along the border and inside Texas. And that's why open carry is such a big issue in the session right now. Some people may not like it, some people do, but the point is the citizens are scared and they want an enhancement of their way to protect themselves. And that's the message a lot of citizens tell the sheriff around the state.
Yeah.
So a structured open carry is something that could be something that may pass with enhanced training, not the radical open carry measures.
The basic concealed handgun licenses.
Concealed handgun licenses, enhanced training, but the reason for it is people are scared. They're scared of the problems of the drugs, the cartels, the gangs in the cities, the gangs that are hitting our rural communities. News last night, there's 325 gangs in the Houston area.
How many?
300, some odd going on. And these are from structured cartel-related gangs in the communities to the little gangbanger wannabes that are hitting the elementary campuses. And that's the whole message. People are scared. Our citizens are tired and scared. And they're seeing our our federal government, getting stagnant sometimes and not doing anything, people fighting to get something done, and it trickled down to, session after Texas now, and, same fight's going on now. So, we appreciate everything, I know you're doing for us, again,
Thanks,
thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing this together, appreciate it.